Hello all, this is Preeti Kedari, Assistant Professor in Electronics, Arihant College of Arts, Commerce and Science, Pune. Today I am going to discuss about second year BSc Computer Science, Digital Communication and Networking course. We'll see in this presentation the chapter number 1 Introduction to Electronic Communication and the topic name is Introduction to Communication. First of all, we will go and see the importance of communication. Communication means exchange of information. The rapid developments in communication systems is playing a vital role in globalization. Number of users utilizing communication systems such as TV, mobiles, etc. day by day. To accommodate them and fulfilling the requirements, continuous updation is required in the field of communication. Constantly inventing new equipments, new technologies possible or allowing improvements in the old systems. Brief outline of evolution of communication system. So here you can see the year and the event. So in 1838 to 1866 the telegraphy development was done. In 1878 first telephone exchange with 8 lines was developed. 1887 to 1907 the wireless telegraphy systems were developed. In 1918 first superheterodyne radio receiver, first commercial broadcasting station was developed. In 1931 teletypewriter service initiated. 1938 to 1945 radar and microwave systems were developed. FM used extensively for military communications. In 1956, first transoceanic telephone cable was developed. 1962, satellite communication begins with channel Telstar 1. 1966 to 1975, wideband communication systems, optical links using lasers and fiber optics developed. In 1969, ARPANET created, which is precursor to internet. 1972 Motorola develops cellular telephone. In 1985 fax machines widely available in the offices. 1990 to 2000 development of digital communication systems, and 2000 onwards WiMAX, optical satellite communication, Zigbee, etc. things we can see or they are developed. So this is the journey of communication systems started from 1838 up till now, and it goes on. Next topic is elements of communication system. So if we consider the different elements of such type of communication systems, the elements are source, transmitter, transmission channel, receiver, user and the noise. Block diagram of communication system. Here you can see the information source is present which gives the message signal to the transmitter. Transmitter transmits the signal and the transmitted signal goes through the channel towards receiver. The received signal is the message signal and which is given to the user for which it is belonging. In between, if we consider the communication system, the noise gets introduced in the communication system. So communication system. Each element in this communication system plays a particular role in information transmission as follows. Information. The information can be in the form of sound signal like speech, music, or it can be in the form of picture. Source. The source is originator of the information that is to be communicated. Information can have different forms like audio, video, text, digital data from computer, etc. Transmitter. It is used to process the information and produces a signal suited to the characteristics of the transmission channel. Processing may involve amplification, signal conversion, modulation, encoding, multiplexing, etc. Next block is transmission channel. This is the physical transmission medium over which the information is sent. Channel can be wired or wireless. Noise. Noise is an unwanted electrical signal which gets added to the transmitted signal when it is traveling towards receiver. Due to noise, the quantity of the transmitted information will degrade. Hence, noise is a big problem in the communication system, and once added, the noise cannot be separated out from the information. Receiver. The reception is exactly the opposite process of transmission. The received signal is amplified and demodulated and converted in a suitable form. The receiver consists of the electronic circuits like mixer, oscillator, detector and amplifier. And the next block is output transducer. It consists of the electrical signal at the output of the receiver back to the original form. That means sound or TV pictures. The typical example of the output transducers are loudspeakers, picture tubes, etc. Wired channel. So, if we consider the transmission medium, it can be wired or wireless. We will first of all go through the wired channel. So, wired channel, it is classified in two different types, that is coaxial cable and fiber optic cable. Coaxial cable. It is a two-wire transmission line having two conductors arranged in a concentric manner and separated by an insulating material. Coaxial cables were widely used for long-distance telephonic communication. The diagram is given here. You can see here the plastic cover, then outer conductor or shield. The insulator is placed in between as well as the inner conductor is present. Next is fiber optic cable. Through fiber optic cable, data is transmitted by light waves. Why to use the fiber optic cables? So there are several advantages of using fiber optic cable. It has wider bandwidth and greater information capacity, immunity to crosstalk, immunity to static interference, safety and convenience, lower transmission loss, durability and reliability, smaller size and lighter weight. These are some of the advantages of using fiber optic cables in communication. Limitations of using fiber optic cable. So there are several advantages of using fiber optic cable, still it has some of the limitations. The first limitation is strength. Second one is it is susceptibility to losses introduced by bending of cable. Requirements of specialized tools to repair and splice the cables. The fiber optic cables are very dedicated. Limitations of using fiber optic cable. Though there are various advantages of using fiber optic cable in communication systems, there are some of the limitations also. First limitation is strength. As fiber optic cables are very delicate in nature, the strength is one of the important limitations of using fiber optic cable. Susceptibility to losses introduced by bending of cable. As we have discussed, it is very much delicate type of cable. So if we are going to bend the cable and as the light passes through the cable, so it will introduce the losses if the cable is bended. Then next is requirement of specialized tools to splice and repair the cables. If there are any problems arise in communication due to fiber optic cable, then it is very much difficult to repair those problems. For that purpose, splicing of cables has to be done and it requires the specialized tools, and it is very much difficult, or this is the limitation of the fiber optic cable in communication system. Next is wireless transmission. In wireless transmission, information is sent and received as electromagnetic waves from one point to another through the atmosphere or free space. Different layers of the atmosphere play a role in propagating radio waves depending upon frequency of information. Noise. Noise is a random, unpredictable, unwanted electrical signal produced by natural processes, both internal and external to the system. There are several sources of noise. The noise introduced in the transmitting medium is termed as external noise. The noise introduced by the electronic circuit is termed as internal noise. External noise. The external noise is classified as human-made noise or industrial noise, atmospheric noise, and space noise. First of all, we will go through the human-made noise or industrial noise. It is produced by spark producing mechanism such as engine ignition system, fluorescent lights, electric motors. It occurs randomly at frequencies up to around 500 MHz. Atmospheric noise. It is caused by naturally occurring disturbances in the Earth's atmosphere because of lightning, discharges, thunderstorms, etc. Space noise. The noise arises due to sun is called solar noise, which is cyclical and reaches peaks about every 11 years. All other stars also contribute to space noise called as cosmic noise. The frequency spectrum is 8 MHz up to 1.5 GHz. Internal noise. The internal noise generated by electronic circuits are of two basic types: Johnson noise or thermal noise and short noise. Johnson noise. At temperature greater than absolute zero, thermal energy causes microscopic particles to exhibit random motion. The random motion of charged particles such as electrons generates random currents or voltages called as thermal noise. Its frequency content is spread equally throughout the usable spectrum, so it is called as white noise also. It appears in every communication system. The next type is short noise. It is introduced by the transistors. Other than this, at low frequency, that is less than 1 kHz, flicker noise, and at high frequencies, transit time noise occurs. Electromagnetic spectrum. In communication systems, frequency of information signal and bandwidth of channel play a vital role in overall designing of the system. The information is transmitted in electromagnetic form. Electromagnetic radiation is a form of energy that is always in a motion. It propagates through a vacuum at a speed independent of both wavelength and frequency and is 3 into 10 to the power 8 meter per second. The speed is given by c is equal to lambda f, where lambda is wavelength in meter and frequency is denoted by f. Here you can see the electromagnetic spectrum, in which you can see the lower frequency, medium frequency, higher frequency, very high frequency, ultra high frequency, super high frequency, extremely high frequency. These are given, and the different ranges, different frequencies along with the application is mentioned in the diagram. Radio frequency spectrum. So frequency range 30 to 300 Hz. It is known as extremely low frequency, abbreviated as ELF, and the application is in power transmission. 300 to 3000 Hz. It is voice frequency denoted by VF and used for audio transmission. 3 to 30 kHz. These are very low frequencies, VLF, and used in navy or military communications. 30 to 300 kHz. These are low frequencies denoted by LF and they are used in aeronautical and marine communication. 300 kHz to 3 MHz. These are medium frequencies denoted by MF and used in AM radio broadcasting. 3 to 30 MHz. High frequency denoted by HF and used in shortwave radio broadcasting. 30 to 300 megahertz. These are very high frequencies denoted by VHF and used in FM radio and TV broadcasting. 300 megahertz to 3 gigahertz. These are ultra high frequencies given by UHF and the applications are mobile communication and military applications. 3 to 30 gigahertz super high frequency, that is SHF. These are used in satellite communications and radar. And the next band of frequency is 30 to 300 gigahertz, that is extra high frequency EHF, used in satellite communication and some specialized radars. So this is about the radio frequency spectrum and its applications. These are some of the references I have used and you can go through it. Thank you.